Good afternoon, everyone. Check one, two. Or check one, two. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, teachers, parents, or YouTube channel, persons current here on the compound here at Frontcourt High School. You will meet them shortly. Just to inform you that we will start in the next 4 minutes. So we start the meeting at 3:20. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This meeting is now called to order. For those who don't know me, my name is Thomas Stewart. I'm the General PTA President. And with me in this room are Mr. Sheldon Thomas, the Principal, Mr. Malon Anderson and Kerrian McDonald, the Vice Principals, and Michelle White, Health, Education and Promotions Officer for St. Anne. We are going to move this program by doing a short devotion that will be conducted by Mr. Keino Thompson, who is the guidance counselor. Over to you, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, parents. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to start off by reading a passage found in First Corinthians chapter 10, and just reading verse 23. All things are lawful, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful, but not all things build up. Just that one verse alone I want us to look at. As parents, um, as as members of a community here at Ferncourt, um, what are the things that are lawful, right? What are the things that are helpful, right? What are the things that build up? I want us to take the time and really actually look at these three things, right? What are the things that we ought to do that are lawful as parents as well as members of this community here, right? Let us look at it. We have all been we are all a part of this community, right? And so therefore we ought to build it up, to encourage it, right? To find ways and means of how exactly we can be of help to this community here, right? Each of us as stakeholders have varying responsibility. Our main responsibility is really actually to the children that we serve, right? And so therefore we are here to build them up, right? So therefore, if it is that then we recognize or we see that we have a set of children that we can help to build up, we can help to make better. We ought to try our very best and assist wherever we can. I want to leave those words with us: things that are lawful, things that are helpful, and things that build up. Let us look at what we can do with these three things as we go through today, as well as the rest of this school term. Right? Let us just bow our heads in prayer. Father, we want to just give you thanks and praise for just who you are. You are a good God. You are a great God. And so, Lord, as we start this PTA meeting, I pray, oh God, that we will consider and we will look at the things that will build up our school. We'll look at the things that will assist our school to become better, to become the school of choice to all students, to all young persons in and around the St. Anne community of Claremont. Father, it is you who have called this school out. It is you that has helped to build this school. And so, Lord, we just give you praise, honor, and glory as we go through with this PTA meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Over back to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson. Certainly words to reflect on there from Mr. Thompson. We would like to thank him for carrying out this short and very reflective devotion. I'd like to go right ahead and welcome us parents, teachers, staff members to the first PTA meeting for this year 2021. I hope it turns out to be a productive one. And when that time comes, I encourage all members to ask questions, to make suggestions, to make recommendations, to generally talk to us relative to what you're feeling out there in this time of COVID and as it relates to the many challenges that we face on a day-to-day in the education system. As it relates to the progression of this, the further progression of this meeting, I'd like to now hand over to Mr. Thomas, our principal, and he will take you along the as it relates to the progression of this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Parents, teachers here, those are YouTube channel. I hope you are well, despite what is happening around us with COVID-19. That's why we have to have virtual meetings because usually we would have you here on the school compound. But, you know, since March last year, you know that we have to move on to online. And so it is important that we continue to keep you all updated on the progress of the school since we start October 2020 for online classes. I know this is new to all of us. I know the teachers in terms of the transition to online learning since March, but it's still a learning in progress. We're not at 100% that we want. And then today, after you hear the presentations from our different heads of department, you will see that we're really have a lot of work to do. I'm aware parents are having challenges and even accessing the online learning and so forth. But I'm not going to divulge much of the information until when the heads of department do their presentation. But here at Fernport High School, we want to always continue to provide up-to-date, relevant information on what is happening. So this afternoon, the school invited Michelle White, Health Education and Promotions Officer for St. Anne, to just give us some information about COVID prevention and so forth. I know you have been hearing it on TV and so forth, but I know, knowing Michelle, she is going to do it in such a way that you're going to really understand what is happening. So she will be doing her presentation first, and then I will come back to you to guide you for the rest of the program.
Okay. And how do I share my screen? Share screen. Okay.
Just double click. So you can take off the video and then see your face.
Okay. Here's some.
And then can just go by the top secret.
Okay.
So you
All right.
you can press this. No. You were at this.
Okay.
You can open. That's the first one.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm hoping that everybody is hearing me. I'm not sure everybody is seeing me. Okay. All right. Okay, right. I think everybody is seeing me. Right. So I'm Michelle White and I'm from the St. Anne's Bay Health Department. And this afternoon, I'll be sharing with you I'll be sharing with you a presentation on the coronavirus. And as Mr. Thomas had said, you've been hearing a lot about COVID. A lot of information is out there on COVID, and we are learning a lot as we go along. But unfortunately, a lot of the persons are not practicing what they should be learning. They're not putting into their learning into practice. And so, as you're aware, our cases in St. Anne especially are going up. Up to Saturday, I remember our cases being, our positive cases for the parish being as much as 40 new cases. I'm not so sure what it is like to yesterday, what it was like yesterday. I know up to Saturday, we had 40 positive cases, and the cases are spread right across the parish of St. Anne. So, and we cannot assume that the person next to you don't have it. The best way of preventing ourselves from catching COVID is to actually pretend that the person right next to you has COVID. That's our best method of preventing ourselves from catching COVID. So I'm just gonna go straight into the presentation. Um, I'm not, yes. Okay, so we'll be talking about what are germs, virus, the coronavirus, how is it spread, how coronavirus is spread, what is the incubation period, signs and symptoms, treatment. And we'll be looking also on the prevention measures, right? And we're going to be also looking on how you can take care of yourselves, and we will do a little overview at the end and give messages, key messages that we want you to take home and to put into practice. So what are germs, right? Germs are bacteria, viruses, fungi, or protozoa that can cause illness and disease. And these are all around us, right? They are simple genetic material made up of DNA or RNA inside a protein coating. Viruses need to live inside a host body to survive. So the virus itself, if it goes on the surface, it cannot survive for very long. But once it is inside you, it has food and everything that it needs to survive. So it can live inside of an animal, a person, or even a plant. Viruses can live outside, as we mentioned before, right? But only for a short time. Once the virus is inside the body, you can get sick. Once the virus is inside the body, you can get sick. Coronaviruses are a large family of virus found in both animals and humans. So it's both in animals and humans, and it affects the upper respiratory and gastrointestinal tract, which is our stomach, and the upper respiratory includes our chest and our lungs. The novel coronavirus, as we call it, novel meaning new, it's a new strain. So we have never seen this strain before, but we have had coronaviruses all along. It is not anything new to the medical field. There have always been coronavirus around, but this strain that we're seeing is a new strain. And because it was discovered in 2019, we call it COVID-19. And our first discovered case was in Wuhan, China, December 2019. I'm sure you have heard that before. The virus is spread mainly from the droplets of a sick person who coughs and sneezes. These droplets can get in your mouth, nose, or inhaled, right? Now, the droplets can be on surfaces or objects. And then these objects and surfaces are contaminated by droplets of persons with COVID-19. A person with COVID-19 then can pass it on surface, touch your eyes, your nose, or your mouth, can enter your body. Incubation period refers to the time it takes from the time a person gets the virus to when he or she starts showing symptoms. And the estimated time is currently 1 to 14 days, right? So it takes up to 14 days for the virus to start showing in your body. And the most critical time when the virus is passed on is when you start showing signs and symptoms. So once the person start showing signs and symptoms, symptoms includes and signs include common symptoms are like fever, cough, shortness of breath. Other symptoms are sore throat, loss of appetite, loss of smell. And these are some of the most common symptoms. What I've noticed is that a lot of persons are losing loss of taste and loss of smell. Those are the most common symptoms that we are seeing, right? Then you can have COVID-19 and not show symptoms. And this period we call when you are asymptomatic. If a person is asymptomatic, they are not showing any signs and symptoms. So a person might be just walking up and down in the public, have COVID-19 and not showing any signs and symptoms. I've seen cases where persons live in the same household, husband and wife sleep together in the same bed. The wife has been tested positive for COVID-19 and the husband don't have it, right? But it doesn't mean that the other persons in the house have it, and then the children might have it too as well. So, and the children weren't showing any signs and symptoms, right? Meaning that they're asymptomatic. But even though they have it, they still can pass it on to other persons who are in the household. Now, everybody's body is different, right? Some people have a strong immune system and they can resist the virus and don't show any signs and symptoms. No for COVID. So there's no medication for COVID, but now we have a vaccine available for COVID, right? And thank God we have come up with this vaccine. And we will talk more about the vaccine as we go into the presentation. Now, our preventative measures to prevent COVID is to wash your hands frequently. Can't do too much of that. Cover your cough and sneeze with a tissue and you discard of the tissue in the bin. So sometimes when you sneeze, you don't leave the tissue on the table or on the bed. Make sure it goes in the bin. And you must wear a mask along with practice social distancing, or we call it physical distancing. Make sure you practice physical distancing. Washing your hands is very important because you can't see the germs that are on your hands. If you cough or sneeze in your hand, make sure you wash your hands immediately. Your hands should be washed immediately. How do you wash your hands? Can't wash your hands without soap and water. You can't wash your hands with water alone. Soap must be present, right? And you want to ensure that you wash your hands for at least 20 seconds, for at least 20 seconds, especially after going to the bathroom, blowing your nose or coughing. How do you wash your hands? Now, rubbing your hands together, you must practice the steps. All steps must be done, right? So you apply the soap in the palm of your hands and you rub. You want to make sure you build a good lather and you have to rub your hands briskly. So you rub the front, the palms first, then you rub the front, the back, in between the fingers, under the fingernails, the thumb. Make sure you get the thumb and the wrist. Right? And then you rinse. And when you're rinsing, you hold your hands down like a curve. So it goes like this. I'm not sure if everybody can see. They can, all right. So you hold your hands like this, like a curve. And you rinse and you go so that the water don't run back down on your elbow. All right. So you have to ensure that your hands are washed and rinsed properly. Then you dry with a paper towel. You don't dry with a cloth or a rag. Unless if you use that, then it is discarded immediately. You put it in the wash immediately. Dry with the paper towel is recommended, or you air dry, which is important. right? And then if you dry with the paper towel, you discard the paper towel in the bin immediately. Hand sanitizers. If you don't have access to hand washing, the next best thing to do is to use the hand sanitizer on your hands. You want to use hand sanitizer with at least 62% alcohol. All children coming to school should have a bottle of hand sanitizer in their bag. And it should be at least 62%. And you should make sure the label on the hand sanitizer bottle says 62%. So you have to read the label on the container. Doesn't make sense you buy it unless it is of the recommended alcohol percentage to kill the germs. When using hand sanitizer, ensure that you use the same motion that is used when you're washing your hands. You notice sometimes when you go to the stores, they give you a little bit that you put in the middle of the palm of your hand. And by the time you go like that, it dry. It doesn't cover the surface of your hands. So the hand sanitizer you should when to put the amount in there, you should use the same steps when you're doing the hand washing. So you do the same steps, front, in between the fingers, the thumb, the wrist. Right? It defeats the purpose. Because some people, when they're going into the store, one little bit, sometimes they have things in their hand and they just go like this with their hands and they're gone into the store. So that is how the virus is being transmitted as well. So everybody go into the supermarket and they touch the cans. Because them take up this can and then look and they say, oh, this too dear, me can't buy this. And they put it back down and take up another brand. So if the hands are not sanitized properly, and the germs is on the hand, it is transferred from your hands to the can, and then you come take it up, carry it home, and so that's how the virus is transmitted. So it comes with you. So you have to make sure when you're going into the store, you must have your hand sanitizer for yourself. Right? So when they give you that little bit, you put a little bit more. Because everything expensive on everybody. Right? So you put a little bit more and you do the steps of the hand washing. That is one of the point. That is one of the behavior that is not being practiced by everyone. And that is how the virus can spread easily if you are not sanitizing your hands properly. People are not stopping outside to wash their hands with soap and water. If I go somewhere and I see soap and water, I choose the soap and water over the hand sanitizer. Because really and truly, when you go to the store, the bottles are not labeled. You don't know what's in the bottle too. Right? So if you have your hand sanitizer, you can use because you know what is in there. Or you fill up your bottle with alcohol and you spray it. They have a little spray bottle. I see them making the alcohol bottles now with the spray thing. So you can just buy a little one of that and put it in your bag. So the hand sanitizer, the steps should be used just like when you are washing your hands. And if you have the hands, if you see the dirt on your hands, it doesn't make sense to use the hand sanitizer. No, it defeats the purpose. The dirt, the hand sanitizer can't remove the dirt. Yes, so you have to make sure you wash your hands with soap and water at that point in time. Right? Only soap and water can remove the dirt, visible dirt. Right? And we don't encourage small on to some of them children all time they must have a little extra to explain when they are leaving school and they're on their way to the bus stop. The walking and the hugging and taking off the mask is something that they should not do. Right? They have grandparents at home. We currently have a case of a 91-year-old female. Never leave her house. She can't even walk good and she have COVID-19. How did she get COVID? The grandchildren that goes to school. They go to school and they bring it home and they give it to her. Right? So you have to ensure, tell the children that when they're coming home, wear their mask. Always practice wearing their mask. When you see them on the road and you observe them, once you can control them within the school environment, You can't control them when they're on the road and they're in the public transportation. So you have to tell them to wear the mask and they go into the bus. The bus is not all the time clean. People are not taking the precautionary measures by sanitizing. So they have to ensure that they, as they come home, they go straight to the bathroom, change their clothes, wash their hands. Right? This is very, very important. And they must practice wearing their mask around their peers. They don't know where the peers are going. They don't know who they were exposed to. Right? And when they go home to and the elderly are there, they transfer the virus to the elderly persons. And they are the ones that are most at risk. Right? So it is important that you emphasize this habit to the children. Covering your cough is very important. We spoke about that. And washing your hands if you cough in your hands. We spoke about that as well. Throwing the tissue into the bin after each use. We spoke about that as well. Wearing the mask, frequent hand washing with soap and water, and practice physical distancing. These are key habits that the children must practice. Not only the children, but us as parents must practice these habits daily. COVID-19 is not going anywhere. It is here to stay. And so we have to learn to live with it. So we have to put these habits into practice. You have to wear the mask. Each child should have a pair of masks when they are coming to school for the entire day. We recommend that you wear the mask for at least one mask for 4 hours. And so we are encouraging you to have a backup mask. The mask must be stored in a clean plastic bag. Right? It shouldn't be thrown down in the school bag. It must be in a clean plastic bag. It don't have to be a Ziploc bag. It can be a regular plastic bag. And the mask is stored in there. Now, when they are putting on the mask, they have to make sure that their hands are clean or they sanitize their hands. Putting on the mask, you want to make sure you hold it by the handles and you put it on your face. At this time, when you're putting on the mask, this is the time when your hands are clean. So you fix the mask properly on your face and you make sure it is comfortable so that you don't have to touch the mask again. Right? So it is comfortable on your face. You should avoid at all times touching the face of your mask with your hands because the hands transfer germs from other places to the face of the mask. When the germs is on the face of the mask, you tend to want to touch your eyes, your nose, and your mouth, and then the germs go inside your body. COVID-19 is transmittable through the droplets from your mouth. If I am wearing my mask and somebody else is not wearing their mask and they're in front of me, when they talk, where do the droplets from their mouth goes? On the face of the mask. And then you now touch the face of your mask, rub your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. And that is how you can catch COVID-19 because it's in the droplets. Some droplets are big, some droplets are small. They're like in a mist. The ones that in the mist stay a little bit longer in the air. But the ones that are bigger drop to the ground or drop on the surfaces. Right? So you have to ensure that you wear your mask and practice hand washing. Because if you're wearing the mask, it will trap it and it won't come out. But once the mask is off, it goes in the ear. And if that's why you are not to practice wearing the mask on your forehead or under your chin. Because when somebody talks, the face is exposed up here and you put the mask up here and then what happens? All of the droplets and the saliva on your face or on your neck go inside of the face of the mask. And where you put on but the mask, right over your nose and your mouth. So you have to ensure that you wear your mask at all times and practice physical distancing. There are two different types of masks. You have the cloth mask and you have the surgical mask like the one that I have on. This one cannot wash and pin on the wire and put on the face. No. It is a one-time use and it is a disposable mask. You don't pin the cloth mask on the face. You put it on the face. and the fan are the fridge. It must be placed, wash with soap and water, and you place it in the sun. That is the preferred way of drying mask. Today, you should not wear back tomorrow because it is supposed to be drying in the sun. So you should have another second pair of mask. You're hearing me? Okay, I think it gone back on. All right, so we are, so the wearing of the mask is very, very important, right? And physical distance when you are practicing physical distancing. Things that they must do, avoid handshaking and hugging, avoid touching your face, your eyes, your nose, and your mouth, avoid close contact with others, food, water, juice with others. Do not share utensils, spoons and cups. Do not share pens. Last again. Okay, right. So everybody have to have their own things to use at school. Pens, pencils, rubbers, their children are feeling sick, please let them stay at home. Don't send them to school. Please do not send them to school if they are feeling sick. Remember the signs and the symptoms that we spoke. Them out they're feeling, especially loss of taste and smell, because those are the most common signs and symptoms that persons are experiencing, right? So make sure they stay at home, and if they're staying at home, immediately. And our testing facilities are Claremont Center of Excellence, Ocho Health Center. Claremont Center of Excellence is Claremont Health Center, Ocho Health Center, Alexandra Community Hospital, Sentence Bay Hospital, and Sentence Bay Health that we're currently doing test from. So if they're feeling sick, right, you report it to the to be staying at home, so arrangements can be made for them to get their lessons at home, and also to inform the teacher, because that needs to be done too as well, because you don't know if anybody else was exposed to that, right? It is a very stressful time, and parents are having a hard time dealing with the children at home, and some parents are out of job. Talk to somebody if you need to talk to somebody over. If you're feeling sick, right? Go for a little walk. Eat healthy as much as you can. Make sure you drink your water, right? Take breaks from social media and the news. Do fun activities with the children, dancing, listening to music, playing games. So you have to do things to relieve the stress. Taking care of yourself also includes eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. We talk about drinking water, getting enough rest. The children are staying up at nights too on the phone. So you have to take that away from them, right? And ensure that they are getting enough rest. Talk with friends and family, because this is a good time to get back in touch with some of your friends and your family too as well, right? Key messages.
Share the screen.
All right, so some of the key messages. Right. I must apologize. I think I was offline a little bit, right? But I think you should have been hearing me just the same, but maybe you weren't seeing the screen. So some of the key messages that we want to leave with are avoid touching the face, especially the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. Avoid spitting in public. Ensure that you wear your mask and keep a second mask in your handbag, right? Or in your vehicle, and make sure it is stored properly so that it is kept clean. Stay at least 6 feet away from others. Practice washing your hands. It's very important. And make sure you stay at home if you are sick. So the children should stay at home if they are sick, and they should report it to the school immediately, right? That they are feeling sick and they're not coming to the school. They're not coming to school today. They're not attending class today. And it is very important that this is done. So in order for us to put in our precautionary measures or put in any other safety measures that we need to put in, the school is made aware. We're asking all parents to participate and come on board with us. We are having challenging times at the Ministry of Health in St. Anne. We have a lot of cases across the parish, and we have to follow up on a lot of persons who are ill, right? I'm sure you have been hearing on the news that there is no bed available at the hospitals. A lot of people are sick, and we're seeing more persons being admitted now than before. COVID is real. It is out there. People are getting sick and dying, right? The numbers are going up. If you don't have to go on the road, don't go on the road. If you go on the road, you practice the protocols. Wash your hands, sanitize, and always wear your mask. It is important that you practice the protocols, practice the rules, and tell the children, enforce it to the children that they must practice the protocols while they're in the public space. It's very important, right? I am going to ask a question, and I have a water bottle that I'm going to give away. The water bottle is going to be left here at the school. This is the water bottle right here. It's going to left at the school. Going to ask a question. Mr. Thomas, the first person that responds with the correct answers, I'll leave the water bottle with Mr. Thomas, and then Mr. Thomas will present it to the person that answers the question, right? So if you are listening to the presentation carefully, you would remember you're going to be able to answer the question correctly. So I mentioned 4 places that you can get your COVID-19 testing done, right? Can the first person to tell me the 4 places, the 4 health centers that offer COVID-19 tests, right? On the YouTube channel, yes, on the YouTube channel, persons who are on the YouTube channel, right? The first person to answer the question, right, correctly will get the very, very nice water bottle that we have here, right? Because we're encouraging water. We're encouraging you to drink your water daily, right? So the first person to tell me the 4 places, the 4 health centers in St. Anne that we offer COVID-19 tests. Anybody has answered the question? So the question is to tell me the 4 health centers in St. Anne that offer COVID-19 tests. Which health centers you can go to get your COVID-19 test done?
Somebody answer.
Somebody answer me, sec.
Somebody answer. Yes, Mr. Douglas?
Somebody answer, Mr. Douglas?
Yeah, but I'll answer the what correct answer.
No, but she can't say.
No, he can't say the answer.
Just say what the person said and then she will take it.
Clear one. Seven day hospital, Alexander Hospital. 7 day in center.
That's the first person?
Yeah.
That's the first. Who is the person?
Ajay Moore.
Ajay Mawat. Okay, so we have a winner. We have Mr. Mawat, Mr. Ajay Mawat. Is a parent? Is a parent?
Can you type to say whether or not he is?
So we have Mr. Mawat, who has won the water bottle, and the water bottle can be collected from Mr. Thomas. Of course, you have to present your ID to get the water bottle. Let me show you the water bottle again.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Yes, it's
important.
right. It's very important. Actually, this bottle was sponsored by the National Family Planning Board, and we just observed our Safer Sex Week activities, right? So the theme for Safer Sex Week activities, especially for the teenagers, we were promoting it for the teenagers at school. No sex, no STI, no baby, no stress.
Until when?
Until when they get married. All right, thank you all for listening. Are there any questions? I've totally forgot that part. Are there any questions from any parent?
All right. Can I make a? I was thinking yesterday about this I can't say no. Contact tracing.
Contact tracing, yes.
And I would want to recommend or suggest to children whenever they are at school, for those who are doing face-to-face, to be mindful of the persons, the groups, the persons that they make contact with, just in case, you know, for it to make it easier for them to help with contact tracing. So if they happen to catch COVID-19, and then the officials ask where, who, and when, you know, it's easier. So just be mindful, just be cognizant. If you're going to a group, you remember how many of the friends' names we spoke to, and all of that. But sometimes I imagine that they forget some of the persons, and then these persons are left off.
Yes, right. When they are at school, though, they stay in one classroom until the entire session is finished. So their time when they're most at risk would be during the break time. Break and lunchtime is within the classroom. So their riskiest time would be when they are going home, or when they're being transported in the public transportation. If it is a bus that picks them up and carry them and drop them off at a location, then that is more control, because once they're in the bus, then the bus driver, and I'm going to ask Mr. Thomas to make sure that those bus drivers have hand sanitizing agents on the bus, and the children sanitize their hands entering the bus. Yes, you have to ensure that that is done, and the bus driver is to ensure to speak to them. If you want me to come and you gather them another day, and we speak to the bus drivers, you know, the importance of making sure that the children wear their mask while they're being transported, right? That is also important. That's an important way to get the message across to as well, that the children wear the mask while they're in the taxis and in the bus. Parents have to try and put it in them head. I don't know how we're going to do it. We're going to cut them brain, put it in there, not so easy, right? But we have to try and ensure that this habit is practiced, because the biggest problem that we have is that we have grandparents at home, and the children have the virus, carry it home to the grandparents or persons who have underlying illnesses, right? And those persons, they have immunocompromised system already. Their health is not up to standard, and so they're very much so at risk, right? And we have to make sure that the children practice wearing their mask, and as they reach home, washing their hands is also important.
So the bus drivers are required to have temperature instruments too.
No, it is not. It is not mandatory, but it would be an added security feature for the bus drivers, safety feature for the bus drivers to have, especially the buses that transport the children, right, to and from school. Right. So that would be good if the bus drivers, they could invest in it. Yeah, they could invest in a thermal gun, you know, to be on the bus. Right. So if there are no questions, nobody have any questions to ask? Any questions?
Any Mr. Douglas?
Any questions,
questions?
Mr. Douglas? Nobody has raised their hand for a question?
No, let me start to answer these questions.
Okay.
Nothing about the presentation.
Nothing about the presentation. All right, that sounds like everybody was learning then, right? And I hope what they learned they put into practice. Thank you all for listening, right? And thank you again for having me, Mr. Thomas. It is my pleasure to be back at school. Thank you again for having me.
Sure, no problem. Just mute here. Thank you, Michelle White from the Health Education and Promotions unit for the Ministry of Health and Wellness here at St. Anne for doing the presentation for us this afternoon. We still have to continue to educate ourselves at this time as we are all facing COVID-19 right across the globe. So we have to always be learning each time so that we can have a change in behavior. And what I would want to encourage each of us to do, if you see someone not doing the right thing, we need to encourage them, wear their mask, follow the protocols and so forth, because if we don't do it, then we will get it, and then some of us unfortunately will die. We don't want that because we have to protect ourselves and our family as well. So thank you, Michelle White. Now we're moving on to the presentation from our heads of department. They will tell us what has been happening since January 2021. I'll take note of the questions being asked by the parents on the YouTube channel. So I'm aware of it. So I will address them in due time. Ms. Campbell, Ms. Diana Campbell is our head of department for home economics. She covers the subject. She knows the names change, but I'm accustomed to food and nutrition, clothing and textile, but they have some different names for them now. So she will tell them more about that. Ms. Campbell, are you hearing me? Mrs. Franklin Bailey, she's also our examination coordinator, head of business education. To invite you now to share your presentation.
All right, thank you, sir. You're hearing me clearly?
Yes.
Good afternoon, parents. Good afternoon, colleagues, and all the stakeholders who are viewing. I am Mrs. Franklin Bailey, as Mr. Thomas just said. I will be presenting the online engagement for the Business Education Department for the month of January. All right, so in the Business Department, we offer several subjects. So I'm going to start with those subjects at the lower school level. which is business basics. So with business basics, we offer business basics from grade 7 through to grade 9. And we have a cohort of 312 students. However, currently we are only engaging 197 students, which is basically 63% thereabout. And I would say we need improvement in that area because we're still not reaching a lot of our students, and those who we reach on a weekly basis, it's still not consistent. All right, we also have information technology, and we have information technology from grade 7 through to grade 13. The cohort for information technology is 991 students, and we are currently engaging only 635 students. So our engagement level is 64%. Then we have ICT, information communication technology. Now we offer that to our Brittanyville students, grade 7 to 9. We have 132 students in the cohort, and we are only now currently only 47 students we have been interfacing with. So that is like 36% engagement, which is very, very poor. We have BPO, which is business process outsourcing. We offer to our grade 10 and grade 11. We have a cohort of 104 students, and we are currently engaging 58 students. The engagement level is 56%, which is really poor. All right, we also have data operations. Data operations, we have students in grades 10 and grades 11. We have 85 students in the cohort, and we are currently engaging 67 students, which is 79% of the students. And I think that subject maybe has the highest engagement level out of all the business areas. We also offer principles of accounts to grade 10 and grade 11. Our cohort is 115 students, and we are only engaging 58 students. The engagement level is 50%, which is not good at all. We offer principles of business to grade 10 and 11. We have 214 students, a part of the cohort, and we are only engaging 136 students, and the engagement level is 64%. So that is it for online engagement for the business department.
Thank you, Mrs. Franklin Bailey. Any updates on the SBA?
All right. For the SBAs, we have SBAs for information technology and for principles of business and principles of accounts. Now, for information technology, we have 100% compliance, right? All students would have submitted their SBAs. Teachers would have viewed even the first drafts from all of the students. For principles of business and principles of accounts, we would have viewed majority of the groups. We would have viewed all the groups, except one student who we have not yet located. That one student name was submitted to our PTA president as well as to Mrs. McDonald. So we're going to be contacting his parents sometime this week to find out what is happening, because we have not been seeing him since we started online. All right. For the business cognate areas, we have 3 students who have not submitted the first draft, but we would have seen chapters from those students. So we're in the process now of getting those students finished up with the first draft to submit it. So basically for the SBAs in the business department, we are 100% compliant in IT, and principles of business and accounts, we are almost there. We're working with the students as best as possible to ensure that we have 100% compliance. That is it for our SBAs. For CAPE, we have information technology CAPE. Our teacher is working with the students at the CAPE level. They have submitted drafts of their SBAs. We have viewed all the drafts from those students from management of business, the same. We have 100% compliance. Their students are now working assiduously to finish up the SBA this month to submit. So that is that for SBA for the business department.
Thank you, Mrs. Franklin Bailey, for your presentation, and I must thank the teachers and the students who are working with us despite what is happening. So I want, especially for the SBA, if we want you to work with us because we want 100% compliant, which is good. I'm seeing in most areas. In terms of face-to-face, sorry, online engagement, now we have some work to do in this aspect. Mrs. Grant Palmer from English and Modern Languages Department, you're next.
Good afternoon, colleagues, parents, and other.
Ms. Palmer?
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. All right. So I'm going to be sharing with you the online engagement for the different subject areas for the English and Modern Languages Department. Okay. So for English A, for grade 7, we have a cohort of 320 students. And of that cohort, we only have 52% of the students being engaged. For grade 8, we have a cohort of 246 students, and only 52% of those students are engaged. And of course, these are really, this is a concerning situation, parents and others. Grade 9, out of a cohort of 331 students, only about 40% of the cohort are engaged on the online platform. For grade 10, 278 in the cohort, 38%. For grade 11, 311, and only 26% engagement. And the parents, you realize that this is the year of CSEC, and I want you to note carefully the level of engagement at grade 11. It's very poor, right? A number of the students are not coming out to the online classes right across the grade, all right? For English B, for grade 10, about 43%, and for grade 11, about 50% of the cohort. Library science, about 75%. Okay, for Spanish, we have 56% for grade 7 being engaged in the online platform, 51% for grade 8, 47% for grade 9, 60% for grade 10, and another red flag here, grade 11, and they will be doing CSEC soon, 40%. So I want to encourage your parents, please ensure that your children are coming out. This is very important. You paid for the examination. And so it's important to get them to engage in the online platform. For communication studies, we have 100% engagement of the students. All right, so now, Mr. Thomas, I'm going to speak about the school-based assessment. All right, for English A, and for communication studies. For English A, 33 students from the cohort who paid for the examination have not submitted any aspect of the school-based assessment. 33 students, nothing at all. Some of these students have not been going to the online classes or the face-to-face classes. And it is really concerning because they paid for the CSEC examination. I want to point out that if the students do not complete the SBA, they will get ungraded. Once we submit a 0 for the SBA for the students, automatically parents, they will get ungraded. So it's like they're going to fail the exam before they even start the exam. So I want to encourage you to get your students, get your children to complete the SBA. And it's not very difficult because the teachers are here, we're here, all the teachers make themselves available to take the students to component by component by component. So that it's important for them to comply, to complete SBA, or else paying for the exam would be a waste of your money. Some students, we have no contact at all for them. We have not seen them in the face-to-face class or the online classes, or they're in both classes but have not been doing anything at all in terms of the SBA. And it's very, very concerning, parents. So I want you to work with us. See, I'm pleading on behalf of the teachers here. We are here for you, but you have to do your part, okay? And it's not like we're going to leave them alone. We're there to give the support that they need. Okay, parents? So basically that is what is going on. So I hope that moving forward, we will see a change in terms of students' online engagement right across the subject areas and in terms of compliance for completing their school-based assessment. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mrs. Palmer, for your presentation. We now go straight to mathematics, Mr.
Welcome,
Fullerton.
sir.
So Fullerton is the head of mathematics department.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Thomas. Good afternoon, parents and teachers. It's a privilege for us to be here this afternoon as I present here. I won't be sharing no screen here this evening. I'm just going to tell you what is happening in the department so far. And the parents per grade can listen because they would know whether or not their child is attending the classes. For grade 7, and I'm just talking about attendance now, and I'm going to talk about submitting work or doing any work online, because we realize as a department we have high turnout but low engagement. So for example, in mathematics for grade 7, we have an 81% turnout for students on a weekly basis. For grade 8, we have 84%, grade 9, 84%. But grade 10 and 11, that's where our concern is. For grade 10, we only have 30% turnout, and grade 11, 26% for the month of January. And as we continue watching the data, we notice when we reach February, the data is going down, down, down. So we're taking a downward turn in this case. When you come on to, after we have given the student work to be done on the platform, we realize that they are not responding. Maybe less than 30% of all the cohort is turning in the work. For example, give them an assignment, a quiz, a test to do during the month. We're not getting back the response from them. The face-to-face, we remember we had face-to-face in January. For the FER, we have, yes, we have for the face-to-face delivery, we have FER coming up. We have over 90% of our students coming out. 11 N and C and O and U, we are having some concern there. For 11 N and C, we have less than 70%. And for O and U, we have less than 50% of the students in January that came out. That was very low. Face-to-face is actually the same or even worse. We have O and U, 11 O and U is a concern. We have below 50% for some classes when the teachers turn in a class of 30, a class of 40 or so students, they're not having more than 5 students per class. And that's very, very poor. N and C is doing much better. You might have 50% of the class coming out at any meet. And the concern is that it's not the same set of students. So if we have the class 2 days, we might have one group Monday, another group Wednesday. So it's finding the teaching and learning is a bit difficult. We are having consistency with FER. We have over 70% of those students coming out to the class. We did our assessment in January for the lower school, 7 to 9. And we must say from grade 7, only 61 students did not do the exam, 61 of the 320. For grade 8, only 54 students did not do it of the 346. And for grade 9, only 53 students did not do the exam. For SBA, we're having some difficulty in the SBA. We have a compliance rate of just over 60%. And we are here watching this figure cautiously because what happened with the students are working in group, but the SBA is coming in and each student is saying on the SBA, they are the only one that do the SBA. So parents, we have to ask our children which maths group they are in, what are they doing with the SBA, and how they can get the SBA going in case like that. All right. That should be it, Mr. T.
Thank you, Mr. Fullerton, for your presentation. I will make my comment at the end of all heads of department's presentation.
Okay, sir.
Good. Mrs. Lee-Grant, she's the head of social sciences department.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to share my screen. All right. I don't think you're seeing the screen, though, even though I wanted you to see it, but I hope you're hearing me.
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to look at the online, just like the other teachers, for grades 7 to 13. Let me say good afternoon again to parents and colleagues. All right, so I'm going to be starting with social studies. And grade 7 has a cohort of 292 and 149 students were engaged online, a percentage of 51. Grade 8, 194 engagement, a percentage of 61. Grade 9, 280 in the court, 150 engaged online, 63%. Grade 10, for social studies, 66 in the court, 31 engaged, 47%. And grade 11, 93 for the court, 44 engaged, and 47%. Now, I'm concerned about all the grades for social studies, but more so, I'm concerned about grade 7. Because when you look at the percentage parents, especially, you notice that it's only 51. And, you know, as new students who are just joining high school, starting high school, you know, I thought they should be more excited about learning and would want to come on for classes. But as you can, well, as I'm informing you, it's only 51%. Grade 11, on the other hand, just as other teachers were reporting, other HODs were reporting, they have exams in a few months, external exams, and it's only 47%. So, you know, I'm very concerned about this, and you should be concerned too. All right, let us listen to the information for history now. So grade 7 students do not do history, but for grade 8, only 60 students, not all classes in grade 8 do history. So please note that. But the number of students who do history is 100 and only 60 are engaged. The percentage is 60. For grade 9, the cohort is 280, 167 engaged, so it's 60%. For grade 10, 74 for the cohort, 50 engaged, 68%. For grade 11, 63 for the cohort, 49 engaged, and that's 78%. So again, you see that, yes, grade 11 is a little better this time, but since they have exams coming up, we would have wanted to see 100%. And grade 13 also does history, and it's 75%. All right, let's move on to the other subject area. We have geography. Grade 7 doesn't do geography, but grade 8, 118 in the cohort, 78 engaged for January, 66%. Grade 8, 118 in the cohort, 78 engaged, 66%. I think I repeated there. Grade 9, 278 in the cohort, 180 engaged, 65%. Grade 10, 47 in the cohort, 32 engaged, 68%. Grade 11, 88 in the cohort, 42 engaged, 48%. Grade 13 also does geography, and that's only 2 students, and they normally turn up for online engagement. So that's 100%. All right, let's move on to religious education. Grade 7, 120 in the cohort and 48% for online engagement. Grade 8, 84 in the cohort, 42% for online engagement. Grade 9, 118 in the cohort, 50 are engaged, 42%. Grade 10, 12 in the cohort, and the engagement is not so bad. It's 10 for the month of January, and that's 83%. While grade 11, it's 8 in the cohort, and there are 5 who engage online, and that's 63%. So, of course, there is a lot of improvement for religious education as well. We need a lot of improvement here. All right. For civics, it's just grade 8 that does civics, and just some classes, just a few classes. And for the cohort, it's 28. And for engagement, it is, I think there's an error here. So I'm going to leave that out because the engagement cannot be more than the cohort. So I will sort that out later. All right, and for Caribbean studies, this is a subject that is done in 6th form. So it is 7 for the cohort, 7 engaged, so it's 100%. For sociology, only done in grade 13, 12 and 13, I think, and it's 8 in the cohort, 6 engaged, and that's 75%. All right, I'm going to move on to SBAs now. Okay, so one of our grade 11 teachers for social studies is Miss Powell, and she has 18 groups in her class, and none of the groups has completed SBA. However, there are 14 groups that have started, or 14 students, I think. Only 14 that have started. And there are 8 groups, and that's a large number. Although I say 8 and it may look small, but remember that it is groups, and in a group you may have like up to 5 students. So I hope by now that the teacher has received more SBAs from these groups, because you know time is really going. For Caribbean history, Miss Foster is the teacher, and she has 12 groups, and all 12 groups have completed their SBAs, and these students must be commended as well as the teacher. That's very good. All right, Miss Foster also teaches History Unit 2 to sixth form, and she has 2 groups. They have not yet completed their SBAs, but they're well on their way. All right, for geography, we have Miss Jefferson. She has 18 groups, and they have all started, and they're on their way to complete. All right, for Caribbean Studies, we have Miss Dominica Horton. She has 7 students, and they have not yet completed their SBAs, but they're working on completing 6 groups. 6 of them are working on completing the SBAs, and only 1 has not done anything as yet. So I'm hoping by now that that 1 student has started. For sociology, it's also Miss Horton. She has 6 students, and 3 of them have started their SBAs, while 3 have not started as yet. So I'm asking you parents you're at home with them. I hope, play your part, meet us halfway, and, encourage them to do their work. Thank you very much for listening. So Thomas?
Thank you, Mrs. Lee-Grant, for your presentation. Mr. Rose is the acting head for agricultural science. Your turn. Your time, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. So Thomas, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
All right. So I'm going to start with the online engagement. Just a second. All right, so for grade 7, we have 139 students. 57% of these students have been engaged. For grade 8, we have 188 students. 53% of these students have been engaged online. For grade 9, we have 56 students. 69 of these students have been engaged online. For grade 10, 15 students, only 10 of these students have been engaged online. For grade 11, in terms of online engagement, we have 54 students in the cohort, 33 students out of the 54 have been engaged. In terms of face-to-face interaction, for the class 11 FER, we have 25 students. Only 60% of these students showed up for class. For 11 NCO, 32 students, only 56% of these students have been engaged. All right, so as it relates to the SBA, the Agricultural Science SBA is a practical-based SBA, meaning that the students have to come to school in order to do most of the practical aspect. The crop investigation part of the SBA has been completed. Only 18 students have been submitted that part so far. 28 students have not yet submit anything. The other section, which is the broiler investigation, the chickens are currently about 4 weeks now in the coop. So the next 2 weeks, these students will slaughter the chicken and complete the report. But the students from mainly 11 NCO are not submitting anything, and they're not showing up for the online classes. So we have a big problem right there. Most of the students from FER have submitted documents as it relates to the SBA, but for NCOU, these students are non-compliant. All right, so parents, I am encouraging you to encourage the students to do the document, to finish the document and submit it to my email so we can be on our way. All right, and the SBA is 40% of the exam grade. So no SBA, then the student have no chance of passing the exam. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Rose, for your report for the agricultural science. Mr. Sylvester, the acting head of Department for Physical Education and Wellness, will tell us what has been happening in that department. Your name, Mr. Sylvester?
Yes, Mr. Thomas, I am hearing you. Good afternoon, everyone. As it relates to the online engagement for grade 7 through to grade 9, we have below 50% online engagement for physical education. For grade 10, it has increased to about between 50 to 69% online engagement. And this might be mainly because those students would have selected PE to do in CSEC for the future. And in grade 11, when we have the week on and week off as it relates to face-to-face and online working in conjunction, we were able to establish an engagement of over 90%. Right, that is for grade 11. And for grade 12 and 13, there's a student in grade 12 and one in grade 13 also, but both are doing CAPE Unit 2 Physical Education. For the online engagement, it's excellent. And for the face-to-face, when that was in session, that was also good. So it was good indeed at that time. And for the end of term exam that we did for grade 7 through to 9, right, the level of online compliance, it was below 50%, all right? And where our CSEC preparation is going on, 58 students registered for CSEC, but all but one have started their SBA. And hopefully that one person who is yet to start her SBA will come on board as soon as possible. And for the CAPE Unit 2, right, for physical education, the IA, which is the internal assessment, it has started, and hopefully they will be able to press on to complete it in order to submit it timely. All right, so in order to maintain compliance, we as teachers will do our part to ensure that the students are committed to their task. And if there are parents for grade 10O and 10U, I am appealing to you that to encourage your students to attend the physical education classes, because we are not seeing them online, right? The level of engagement is woefully inadequate. So we are appealing for those parents whose students will be doing CSEC physical education in the future, that is next year. Your students are not attending classes well, right? So improve in that department, please. And the work is always posted in the classroom. So even if they are unable to attend the live sessions, they can view those work in the classroom. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sylvester, for your report. All right, I was trying to get to Ms. Campbell. She had been some difficulties. Ms. Campbell, you hearing me? Not hearing me, Ms. Campbell?
Good afternoon, Mr. Thomas.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Good.
Excellent. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, parents. I am going to be reporting on the Family and Consumer Management Department. So let me begin with online learning. We have a cohort of 144 students in grade 7, and we have been engaging only 22 students continually. So it represents a percentage of 15. For grade 8, it is 57 of 167 who we are continually engaging, and it represents 34%. Grade 9, 40 of 60, which is 67%, and grade 10, 76 of 169 students, which is 45%. Or grade 11 is 70 of 136, which is 51%. And the cohort for grade 10 and 11 represents students who are doing food and nutrition, commercial food preparation, family and resource management, clothing and textile, fashion designing, and cosmetology. CXC students who have not turned in SBA number 1. 4 of them are family and resource management students, and these 4 students are in 11O and U. The SBA cannot be done at home, unlike food and nutrition or the clothing and fashion, because of the criteria of it. The students are required to prepare a room for a function, and it must have a head table and backdrop with floral arrangements. The students are saying that they don't have the resources at home to do it, so they have to come in to do it. That's why it has not been done. Mr. Thomas, colleagues, parents, the school has gone ahead and purchased the resources, made accommodation for the preparation of this exam. So all we need is the students to be there to do the exam. For food and nutrition, I have had conversation with the 2 students who have outstanding SBA, and by the end of this week, we should be seeing some results there. Currently, we are working on the portfolios at grade 11 and making preparation for SBA number 2. SBA number 2 is externally graded, and so it has 2 components, a theory component, which is a time plan, and a practical component, which is the assessment that you have to do. Parents, please note that the student has to be at school for this part of the exam to be done because they're externally graded. It means that CXC will send us a proposed date, and CXC is going to be assessing the students along with their classroom teachers. So they must be at school. As it relates to face-to-face, we have a 90% turnout for students in FER, and NCOU a 60% turnout. Students in 11O and 11U have poor attendance as it relates to face-to-face and as it relates to the Zoom classroom. So we are having problems with the students in mostly O and U as it relates to management and food and nutrition, management especially. What else do I need to cover?
Scambo? Scambo? Not hearing him, Scambo?
That is it. Any question?
Break up a little, Miss Campbell. In the last part, Ms. Campbell. I know she has been having some issues, internet.
You're here? Yes, sir.
Yes, we didn't hear the last part. We heard the part about the assessor
Sir?
coming to observe them.
The
Yes,
last part
you
of
hearing
it.
me?
Okay. Yes, I'm hearing you. So nutrition and family management.
Well, we didn't get that, but I think what you was saying to us, reminding the parents that the students are going to be assessed. Someone from 6 will come to moderate, and the student after carry out the practical activities. So as soon as we get that information, we will share it with the students. So thank you, Ms. Campbell, for your presentation. Just want to say overall that there are subjects where we have high engagement, and I want to commend the teachers and the students and the parents to make that possible. There are some areas that needs improvement, which we have to work on. I went through the chat just briefly on the YouTube, and I've seen where parents are saying that they didn't know about the meeting and so forth. So that is why this meeting will be on our YouTube channel for those who didn't get a chance to get on it live, so that you can hear all the information that was presented today, so that all our parents can be aware of what is happening at the school, face-to-face and online. Now, I was speaking with Mr. Stewart, our PTA president, and Mrs. McDonough here, one of vice principal. We are aware that the information somehow not reaching to your parents, because I would have sent out the message from Sunday to the teachers who then circulate it in the different students' WhatsApp group. So apparently that is not working. I know I've been approached by a company about an app for the school, which I think I will have to invest in, so parents don't have to wait on the child to get information. You will have to download the app, so we're going to invest and get this Frankfurt High School app, so parents who can download it, and then you would know for yourself what is happening at the school, and necessarily not have to wait on the child. So I'm going to invest in the app. I know Mr. Stewart wants to set up the WhatsApp group, but sir, to set up a group with almost 1,600 will be a task. So let's work with the app for now, so we can communicate to the parents directly all information, so that you are aware of what is happening in the school. Now, as it relates to the reports, for semester 1 report, we're not going to have a report day per se, but the report will, when it's completed, you will be able to access it online using the same My School Jamaica platform that I want you to utilize in October. So now it's so important now that you will have to go back on that same platform, and that's where you'll be able to access the report. But before we do that, there are certain steps that we need to do before reaching to that stage, because also we have to look at those persons who did not get to do the exam for some reason. So we'll have to have discussion with our teachers and see how best we can facilitate them. But we will have a day when the report will be released on the My School Jamaica platform. I note also in the YouTube chat that you're supposed to enter your name. So you need to click on the link. I want to ask the person, Mr. Douglas, who is monitoring that link, the YouTube chat, to just put back the link so the parents can register that they attend this meeting. We need that information. All right, as it relates to face-to-face classes, currently we have grade 11 here by groups. But we still have to monitor the situation with COVID-19 in the parish, as Miss Michelle White reminded us that The case continues to rise here in St. Thomas, so we have to be monitoring that situation. So currently we are just focusing on the grade level. But at some point, we will have to engage our grade 10 students because their SBA would have started also in grade 10. And based on information that I received from the heads of department, especially in some classes where there are areas of concern that we would have to address as best as possible. So I have seen grade 9 parents asking if we could have face-to-face and so forth. We're still monitoring the situation. And since we realize that you're not getting information, then we will have to invest in the app so that when information goes out, you know instantly. Finally, I see here somebody asking about WhatsApp group. As I said, where the form teachers would have already created a group with the students in the class already. If they don't use that platform, I know they use it on the Google Classroom. That's where they go sometime to mark their names in the morning. So that same platform can be used to give out information that affect this child or the children in that particular class. All right, so as it relates to the part students and the tablets, we at the school, we haven't received any tablets, all right, or the laptops. We're still waiting on the Ministry of Education. As soon as we get the necessary information, we will let you know. And I know it's hard because you want your child to start access, because I know it's very difficult using the phone to access online classes. Just going through your messages quickly. Yes, thank you, Miss Laws Pink. You're saying that the subject teachers have been very creative and engaging the students. Thank you for that commendation. We really appreciate it. It's a very difficult time for all of us, parents, teachers, students in this online platform. I know we have not been 100% in terms of effectiveness, but it's a learning process for all of us. We're improving, and we're getting better each time. Just go through in your chat quickly. All right. So, Mr. Stewart, you have anything to say? Because the plan was for 2 hours. It's now 5 o'clock. Sure, no problem. So, Mr. Stewart wants to give the final word.
Greetings again, colleagues. I would just like to say that clearly Miss White would have enunciated some protocols that we would have been practicing already. For the most part, I'm sure, here amongst the Ferncourt family. I would have certainly learned some other stuff that I would want to encourage us to implement and to make part of our strategy to fight this COVID situation to ensure that we keep safe. I want to thank her again for her presentation. We heard from the various heads of department at the school relative to the engagement of some of our children. Now, we heard some of the heads speaking about some really woeful numbers. Now I can appreciate the many challenges that we are facing at this time, but I would just love to encourage us that notwithstanding, we still need to remember that the education of the children is paramount. And whatever it is that we can do to ensure that we assist the staff, the teachers, the rest of the staff members to ensure that we allow our kids to be engaged so that they can maximize on whatever potential they have is what I'm recommending and I'm encouraging at this time. I noticed, I don't know, this school has 1,556 children. Now I mean, you could have parents who have more than one children here, but certainly for us to have an engagement here at the PTA of fluctuating between 220 and 200, that is of a concern. I don't know how to interpret it. I don't know if it's a case that I imagine probably we have a situation where some parents may not have known about this meeting and probably other challenges. But I hope for the next meeting that hopefully will be planned when Mr. Thomas would have gotten the app that would have, enabled us to be able to get, the information as quickly as possible. Then we would have seen better engagement from our parents. So that for me was a concern. Lastly, I'd like to encourage our parents or stakeholders to continue to see how best they can, monitor the children, monitor your wards as it relates to the online engagement. I am sure we have parents, we have children who might go on and possibly they stay on for a few minutes and shortly thereafter they are off engaged in activities that should not have been engaged in during school time. Remember, notwithstanding we are at home and we are doing this online engagement, it's still school time. So as long as it's between the hours of school time, we should ensure that our children are engaged as such. So I would like to take this opportunity again, as I said, to encourage us to ensure that our children are engaged as much as possible. If you're not sure if they are engaged, because I mean, you have children who may be engaged from their phones and maybe have earphones on and you're not hearing anything, check up on them. Check up on them. Look at their phones, see what they are doing to ensure that, they are engaged as such. I want to thank all the parents, all the guardians, everybody concerned who took the time to be a part of this meeting. Thank those who asked questions and all those who participated. And I hope that whatever we learned here may be beneficial to us, and whatever we need to do to make things better as relates to what was spoken about here as it relates to challenges would have been in that kind of mind frame to ensure that we deal with that. Thanks again, colleagues, and I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart, for giving the conclusion, the concluding remarks. Well said. So I want to also thank all the parents, teachers who are here for being with us this afternoon. As I said, this meeting will be on our YouTube channel. And I also want you to subscribe to our Frontport High School St. Anne Jamaica YouTube channel. There are lots of information on it that you need to go on. You've seen our teachers in action and support. So you need to go on and see we have information about even COVID-19, stress management, all of that. They are all there on our YouTube channel. So we break for midterm starting tomorrow. I will send out a notice by Friday which group will come here on Monday for face-to-face classes. So I want to wish you all a peaceful, away from COVID, stay away from COVID-19 and ensure that, right. And on Monday, we'll resume with our online learning. Remember, online learning resume on Monday, and we'll have groups of students here for face-to-face. So I will send out that information. So have a good afternoon and good evening, and have a productive weekend. I will see us back online with the teachers on Monday and some grade level students for face-to-face classes.